Fish on a naked spinner. Man, what a fight. That's the thing about kokanee, man. They fight like crazy. There we go. That's a chunk right there. Naked spinner. Right there, look at that fish. Awesome. Chunky little eater. So I know there's a lot of guys that watch the channel that are avid trout fishermen, and I'm an avid trout fisherman. I am obsessed with big rainbow trout, but I also love kokanee fishing. And if you're a trout guy and you have access to some kokanee legs, I strongly encourage you to give kokanee fishing a try. Now you're going to find it different than trout trolling in 4 fundamental ways. First and foremost, kokanee typically provide better table fare than trout. Trout are great, kokanee are better. It's a sockeye salmon, sweet red meat. You can use it a bunch of different ways. It's great in the smoker, it's great in the frying pan, it's great on the barbecue. You can bake it. Very versatile, very sweet flesh. So that's number one, better table fare. Number two, you really need to have a downrigger when you're kokanee fishing. Now there are kokanee on top. I just caught one 6 feet deep, but they tend to hold deeper than trout most of the time. There's guys out here I've talked to this morning, the surface temperature is 56 degrees right now, and they're catching kokanee 50 feet deep. So they tend to go down deeper in the water column than trout. I just had a hit on my downrigger right there at 25 feet. I'm gonna want to check that corn on here in a second. So second major difference from trout trolling is, you know, in any given situation, kokanee tend to hold deeper than trout most of the time. Number three is the difference in the gear. Kokanee lures tend to be smaller on average than trout lures, and you're also going to rely heavily on flashers and dodgers. Not all the time. I do run some kokanee lures naked, but I'm kind of the exception to the rule. Most guys are running dodgers and flashers, you know, 95+% of the time. Spinners are very popular. Hoochies are very popular. Small spoons like my micro trigger spoons, they're a real sleeper. The wee dick night, stuff like that, they will work. But just know the offerings tend to be smaller, and they tend to rely a lot more on dodgers and flashers to draw the fish in. You also need to be prepared to change colors and change the level of flash. Very often, if you get on a rainbow trout bite in the morning and you're catching them on a given dodger and a given spoon, that bite's going to hold up for most of the day, and they're not going to be put off by the flash of the dodger even when the sun gets high in the sky. Kokanee are different. A lot of flash when the sun is high in the sky will often put them off the bite. So it's not uncommon to get out to a kokanee lake, start catching fish, and then have the bite die. What you need to do is you need to go to subtler colors and less flash. Fourth major way that kokanee fishing differs from trout fishing is kokanee, while they average smaller than trout, they fight much harder. And it's a great thing about kokanee fishing. If you're getting kokanee that are 13, 14 inches long on up to 18 inches, they fight like tigers. They rip it out of the downrigger clip. They make multiple jumps. They are just a great fighting fish. They're more apt to be lost than trout. What you want to do, you want to fight them very gently. You don't want to be, pulling on the rod tip or anything like that. Grind on them, keep a light drag. You want a light tipped rod, and if they start jumping, get your rod tip in the water. You've got a lot better chance of losing a kokanee when it's jumping than when it's down in the water. And part of that is due to the fact that we're often running dodgers, and that gives the kokanee something to fight against. They say kokanee have a soft mouth, and that's probably true. That's the random chance of hooking trout, and hooking any fish, trout or kokanee. You can't control where that fish goes or where that hook goes in the fish's mouth. If it gets in the soft part of the mouth, you may well lose the fish. If it gets in the cartilage, you're probably not going to lose the fish. Simple as that. And that's kind of the random part of kokanee fishing. So those are the 4 major ways that kokanee fishing differs from trout fishing. If you haven't tried kokanee trolling, figure out where there's some kokanee near you. Get yourself some shoe peg corn. You got to tip everything with corn. Get out on the water and get your kokanee on. You can thank me later. You can thank me right after you have your first kokanee dinner. I'm Kel Kellogg. Catch you next time right here on YouTube, guys. And if you're looking for trout or kokanee gear, you know where to go. Fish, hunt, shoot.com. Thanks a lot, guys.